Hello friends, the 53rd GST Council meeting has been concluded today, and on the basis of press briefing which was done by the Honorable Finance Minister, today we are going to discuss some important recommendations which have been made by the GST Council in today's meeting. So let us delve into them one by one. First of all, we will see the recommendations which have been made for the legal changes. The most important change, number one, as far as section 16 subsection 4 is concerned, as all of us know, this section lays down that any input tax credit in respect of any invoice or debit note cannot be claimed after the due date of filing the return for the month of September of the next year or filing of annual return, whichever is earlier. Amendment was made in this particular section 16 subsection 4 with effect from 1st October 22 that the credit can be claimed in respect of invoice or debit note up to 30th November of the next financial year. So from the due date of filing the return for the month of September, the date has been extended permanently up to 30th November of the next financial year. Now, one important change that has been recommended by the GST Council is that for all the financial years from financial year 17-18, 18-19, 19-20 and 20-21, if any GSTR 3B is filed relating to these financial years up to 30th November 2021, then the restriction on the ITC or restriction on the time limit to claim the ITC under section 16 subsection 4 will not be applicable. So in other words, if you have filed any return from any financial year relating to 17-18 and up to March 21, and this return is filed up to 30th November 21, ITC will be available. This is a very welcome change. In addition to this, I just want to add one thing, that recently the Kerala High Court has just concluded that the 30th November time limit, which has been made applicable from 1st October 22, it should be applicable retrospectively. In other words, if for FY 17-18 the return has been filed up to 30th November 2018, or if say for FY 19-20 the return has been filed up to November 20, then the ITC should be allowed. This was the judgment of Kerala High Court. So going one step ahead, now the GST Council has said that for financial year 17-18 to 2021, if you file any GSTR 3B up to 30th November 21, then the ITC will be allowed. So it's a very welcome change. Number two, as far as appeal to GST appellate tribunal is concerned, as all of us know, the time limit for filing the appeal was 3 months from the date the president assumes his office or the president of the tribunal enters his office. Now the president of the tribunal has already been appointed. So in order to remove any ambiguity or in order to avoid any unnecessary panic in the mind of taxpayers, the GST Council has recommended that the date or say the time limit of 3 months for filing the appeal before GST Appellate Tribunal will start from a date which will be notified by the government. Number 3, now as far as orders passed under section 73 of the GST Law are concerned, so all the orders passed under section 73 of GST Act for financial year 17-18 up to for financial year 19-20, in other words, orders passed under section 73 for FY 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, for all the orders passed under section 73 relating to these financial years, interest plus penalty, whatever has been imposed on the taxpayer, that will be completely waived, provided the tax which has been demanded in that order has been paid up to 31st March 2025. So this again a very welcome change. Now, as an addition to this, I will also tell that as far as these orders under section 73 are concerned, various petitions are pending in the various high courts that the time limit which has been extended under section 168A of CGST Act for passing the orders under section 73, this extension of time limit is invalid or illegal. But two high courts, that is number one Kerala High Court and number two Allahabad High Court, they have already confirmed that the extension of time limit under section 73 of CGST Act for passing the orders under section 73 of CGST Act is valid and legal. So, taking into consideration these developments in the jurisprudence, as far as time limit for passing the order under section 73 is concerned, this waiver or this concession given by the GST Council or by the government is a very welcome concession. Next, now as far as litigation is concerned, litigation by the department, as all of us know that the government has the powers to notify the limit of the demand or the tax amount or the stake involved, up to which the department will not file the appeal against the order of appellate authority. So, as far as this particular limits are concerned, the GST Council has recommended that as far as filing of the appeal by the department to the tribunal is concerned, the department will not file the appeal if the amount disputed does not exceed, or the amount which has been waived or the demand which is waived by the appellate authority does not exceed 20 lakhs. So, and next, as far as appeal to the High Court is concerned, the department will not go into the appeal if the amount involved is up to 1 crore. And as far as appeal to Supreme Court is concerned, the department will not file appeal before the Supreme Court if the amount involved does not exceed 2 crores. Just a word of caution in this, that this particular type of recommendations which have been made by GST Council as far as appeal by the department to tribunal or to High Court or to Supreme Court is concerned, if those particular orders against which the department wants to file the appeal, if they involve any substantial question of law, then this type of time limits this type of monetary limits or pecuniary limits will not be applicable. Next, another welcome change for the taxpayer, a tax friendly measure by the government, that as far as the amount of pre-deposit is concerned, as all of us know that before filing appeal before the first appellate authority under the GST law under section 107, we need to deposit 10% of the tax in dispute, and the maximum amount that was required to be deposited before first appellate authority was 25 crores. So in simple words, if the amount involved in the dispute, if the 10% of the amount involved in dispute exceeds 25 crores CGST and 25 crores SGST, then the taxpayer needs to deposit maximum 25 crores CGST and 25 crores SGST. But now that maximum amount has been reduced from 25 crore CGST to 20 crore CGST and from 25 crore SGST to 20 crore SGST. So it's again a welcome change. Second, while filing the appeal before appellate tribunal, that is the second appeal, the pre-deposit was 20% of the amount in dispute, in addition to the pre-deposit already made with the first appellate authority, and the maximum limit on the pre-deposit amount was 50 crores CGST and 50 crore SGST. The change made is, number one, maximum pre-deposit amount has been reduced from 50 crore to 20 crore. A very substantial benefit or concession has been given to the taxpayer. And second, instead of depositing 20% of the amount in dispute, you need to deposit only 10% of the amount in dispute, in addition to the 10% already deposited with first appellate authority. So in other words, in previous scenario or before this particular recommendations, the total deposit with the first appellate authority plus the second appellate authority was 30%. Now it has been reduced to total in aggregate 20%. Next, as far as GSTR 4 is concerned, that is the return which is required to be filed by the composition taxpayers, the change that has been made is in the timeline. Instead of 30th April, now the date will be 30th June. So it's a welcome change. Next one, the most awaited change, the most discussed one, the most expected one was the GSTR 1. In addition to filing GSTR 1, now you can also file GSTR 1A if you have made any mistakes or you have missed something while filing GSTR 1. But this GSTR 1A can be filed only to rectify the mistakes which have been made in GSTR 1 of the relevant tax period. And this GSTR 1A has to be filed before filing of GSTR 3B for the relevant tax period. So this cannot be filed for the previous tax periods. Next one, as far as charging of interest under section 50 is concerned for late filing of returns, important change has been recommended by the GST Council that if as on the due date of filing the return, the taxpayer has already deposited the amount in the cash ledger, but due to certain reason he could not file the return on time, then whatever amount is there in the electronic cash ledger, to the extent of that amount, interest will not be levied provided that particular amount has been actually utilized while filing the 3B return. So it's again a welcome change, because what was happening, the people were depositing the money in electronic cash ledger before due date, but due to certain issues, say lack of information or due to certain issues in accounts finalization, they were not able to file the returns on time. So it's a welcome change. Now the next one, as far as changes in GST rates are concerned, some important changes, reduction in tax rates which have been recommended by the GST Council. Number one, sprinklers, including fire sprinklers, a uniform rate of 12% is recommended. Similarly, for milk cans, whether they are of aluminium, they are of steel, they are of plastic, for all types of milk cans, uniform rate of 12% is recommended. For corrugated boxes or for cartoon boxes, a uniform rate of 12% is recommended. For solar cookers, same uniform rate of 12% is recommended. Now, certain services which are provided by the railways, for example, sale of platform tickets or services of retiring rooms, these type of services are proposed to be exempted by the Council. And another important change is with regard to the hostel accommodation. As all of us know, whenever hostel accommodation services is provided by the educational institution, they are already exempted. But in many cases, it so happens that the educational institution does not provide a hostel accommodation service. So the students have to get the services or they have to find the accommodation in the hostels which are outside the area of educational institution. Taking into consideration this particular genuine difficulties of the students, the GST Council has recommended that in case of hostel accommodation availed by the students in any hostel, GST will not be levied up to the value of supply of rupees 20,000 per month per person. Most important condition will be he should avail the services of that particular hostel for minimum 3 months. So this particular condition has been levied so as to avoid the misuse of this particular concession which has been given, the exemption which has been given, taking into consideration the students from the rural areas, the students belonging to the weaker economic backgrounds. So these are some important changes which has been recommended by the GST Council. This was based on the press briefing which has been done by the finance minister. Thanks a lot. Thank you.